Welcome back, everybody. There's been a viral debate going around lately that I've been seeing a lot of clips of on Twitter, and people saying that Kyle Kulinski locked the fuck in here and absolutely dominated Michael Knowles in particular, and some of the other conservatives on this Piers Morgan panel. If you guys have watched me before, you know I don't have the highest opinion of Piers Morgan. It started to tick upwards a little bit more recently with him calling out some of the bullshitters on the right, but in general, I find these panels to be complete brain rot, and yet here I am, subjecting myself and Rince, who is joining me here right now, to this panel. You can go ahead and say hi.
What's up, chat? How we doing? Man, you led me in a bad time. But
you were drinking that water, huh?
Yeah, no, I was munching. But yeah, no, what's up? Yeah, we're gonna be taking a look at this, and yeah, I will say I agree about the panels being fucking brain rot. Like they're so utterly unproductive. They're literally just meant to be like, you know, media slop for like ad revenue. That's all it is.
But I still do believe that if you can get a competent progressive on there to just demolish and just put belt to ass on a conservative pundit on every single point, it's a good look. You can farm some really good clips out of that, and that can have a serious impact. That's aura right there. You just gotta farm some aura for the left.
Yeah. No, I think Harry Sisson went on there and actually did that. Like, I don't remember when. I think it was like a year ago, but yeah. No, I agree.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this debate. Now, Kyle Kulinski, I know some people here don't have the most positive opinion of him. I used to actually have a much lower opinion of Kyle Kulinski because I thought he aired a little too much on the side of the vote, don't like doomer, anti-vote blue no matter who kind of mindset. But what I've noticed is that despite being, you know, aware of him for about a decade now, he's never budged. You know, like all around you see people who were once like vote blue no matter who go full doomer, tanky, Maoist, anti-electoralist. Meanwhile, Kyle Kulinski, I don't 100% agree with his positions and how hard he goes on the Democrats, but it's consistent. He's never like folded and taken the money, taken the grift to like go complete anti-electoral, right? He's basically just stayed in the same spot even when it was unpopular, and even when it's more popular to go even more radical, he doesn't. He stays where he is. He's like genuine and legit. Like, you don't have to agree with Kyle on everything, but he is consistent in a way that I actually cannot say a lot of progressive figures that I'm aware of are. Like, he's consistent. I remember Kyle wasn't liked that much by Cavernacle a few years ago. Nah, I like that about Kyle. Yeah, there's a lot of tankies that don't like Kyle Kulinski as well. That tells you a lot, I think. He cooks. He's kind of the embodiment of dark woke right now. And I think we're going to see some of that come out in this debate. So, what are your, before we get into it, any thoughts, Rince?
Yeah, I love me some dark woke. I think your chat actually recognizes me as dark woke. So, yeah, I love that.
All right then. Well, with that said, guys, before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and a comment on this video if you enjoy. Subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you can see more from me in the future. I appreciate it a ton. It helps a lot. And without any further ado, let's check this out. So, Kyle Kulinski debating Michael Knowles and Dave Smith. Let's see what this is all about. What's all the hubbub about?
With you. Dave Smith, let me start with you. Welcome back to Uncensored.
Thank you.
There's a lot going on. You know, I decided to have a week off after Christmas. Big mistake. Never have a week off in the Trump administration. It seemed like all hell was breaking loose. And yet, if you park the rhetoric, which can be very incendiary on all sides, and you cut to the presumed ideology of what Trump is trying to do here, I do see the argument. I may not agree with all of it, but I see the logic of what he's trying to do and why he thinks it's in America's interest. And that applies to whether it's Venezuela and getting rid of Maduro, or whether it's the Iran situation and so on. Do you see the logic, even if you don't agree with it all?
No.
Okay.
I mean, Piers.
So, listen, there is absolutely nothing that the U.S. gains by pissing off its best allies, even if it is in the short term. To a layman, to an idiot, it's like, oh, we're getting more land, we're annexing territories, that's good for America. But we're also pissing off some of our biggest allies. And the U.S.'s power doesn't come from its raw strength, it comes from the strength and bonds it has with its allies. Like, come on, this is basic stuff. Like, Donald Trump does not know anything about anything. I've said this a million times, and I'll never stop repeating it. He knows nothing about nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Trump is a walking, talking, just waste of fucking, like, just resources,
He's a waste.
if anything.
He's a waste of a vote. Anyway, though, let's get back to it. Sorry to pause so early.
It's as you said, Donald Trump can say America first means whatever I say it means, but if America first meant one thing to everybody who's ever uttered the phrase, and then he wants to change that to mean America first means regime changes all around the world, huge, enormous, unthinkable bloated defense budgets like he just requested from Congress.
I have no clue who he is.
If he's going to think that none of his supporters are going to have a problem with that, or that they're all just going to change their views because he decided to change his, I think he's going to find out how well that works for him in the midterms this year, and I think it's going to be a disaster. And, obviously it's true, Pierce, as you said, and we all know, Donald Trump will say all types of crazy things and then never follow through with that. But he also just asked Congress for a $1.5 trillion defense budget. And that, to me, does indicate that he is anticipating a real deal war coming up, or at least the possibility of it. And if he means...
Ooh, that is a good point. Obviously Trump might just want to flex a big military spending budget as, like, a sort of thing that he can just kind of point to and be like, look what we can do. We have a more funded military than anyone on Earth. You could try to just use it as a flex or as a power play. But man, it feels like a lot of action being taken preemptively for something as simple as a power play, right? Like, Prince, do you think it's actually gonna happen? Is Trump gonna invade Greenland and Canada?
I think he wants to try, but I don't think it's gonna succeed. I think I think the likelihood of us getting actually fucking drafted for this shit, because that's what I'm concerned about with this shit, is like how it affects us, right? And I don't think we'll be affected. I think Trump's... I'm gonna play like devil's advocate low-key. I think he's gonna try and do crazy shit, and he's gonna keep fucking up our reputation, which is obviously very important. It is really bad, but as far as personal stuff, I mean, I don't know. I find it really hard, like, that succeeding, because there's so many levels of shit you gotta go through to, like, really, initiate that process, right? Like a...
No,
well,
Trump did it a couple days ago. He just went and bombed Venezuela and got Maduro.
Zan, no,
any day,
man.
Any moment, we could find out that troops have been deployed onto the shores of Greenland. Any minute.
That is fucking true, unfortunately, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, no, this is a big problem. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I try to sometimes be a little bit hopium, you know what I mean? I try to minimize things a little bit sometimes, but yeah, no, this is just a bad fucking...
This is bad. This is really bad, guys. Oh, no. Yeah, we can only hope that Trump is bluffing, and we can only just enjoy our funny block game for a while we can, because if Trump decides to invade Canada... Yeah, this is a Canadian product, so if Trump decides to invade Canada, we don't get hightail anymore, and I might actually lose it. Like, legitimately.
I might cry.
Yeah, if Trump fucks up hightail for me, I'm not even gonna go down that path, because I want to be a free and safe citizen of the United States. Let's continue.
Okay, chill. Yeah.
The things that he says... I mean, I don't exactly know how you do that. I don't know how you say we run Venezuela and we'll dictate who the next regime is and we'll dictate where the oil goes without at least an effort of like 100,000 troops. I'm not even sure that would be enough to do it. So it's unclear what exactly the next move is going to be, and that's really when we'll find out what he's going to do. But no, Pierce, the idea that we're 38 or maybe 39 by the end of the show $1 trillion in debt right now. We have major problems in this country, and we have a hot war raging on in Europe, which is a proxy war between the entire West and the biggest nuclear armed power in the history of the world. The idea that we would go flirting with multiple wars of choice at this point, it's not left-wing or right-wing, it's just reckless. There's no wisdom in it.
Michael Knowles, I guess the argument against what Trump is doing is that many people who voted for Trump bought into the concept that what America first was take care of what's happening in your own backyard and stop meddling in foreign affairs. And now they're waking up almost on a daily basis to seeing Donald Trump proudly and aggressively talking about meddling in all sorts of foreign affairs. Is there a contradiction or hypocrisy or even a betrayal of voters going on here?
Not at all. First of all, Venezuela is in our own backyard, and it's...
Okay, I thought he'd say, well, of course not, but he said not at all. I was pretty close, though, right? Like, to his general demeanor and how he'd respond to it. I feel like I got it on I almost predicted exactly what he'd say.
Yeah.
Okay, so, what are your thoughts on this so far, Rince? Do you think that, think Trump's doing this for what's best for the American people? Or do you think maybe the oil companies really want him to do this because they're enriched by America, like, basically just like stealing oil from countries?
Yeah, this is, like, I'll tell you this much. The executives at Halliburton are gooning right now, and, yeah,
I bet it's a lot of the big tech people, too, because a lot of this is to do with, like, rare earth minerals, right? Doesn't Canada and Greenland have a shitload of, like, really rare earth minerals that are needed for making, like, RAM, CPUs, computer chips?
The reason, I think there's been actually multiple countries, like, fighting over the resources in Greenland, because it has a lot of, important resources that we could use. I think Trump even actually said this, that, like, you know, we need the resources up in Greenland, you know, and it's like, you know, while I would like those resources, I would also not like to go to fucking war with multiple countries and be drafted before I could, you know, start my life out. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, man. Like, chill.
Before we even get like, 1.0 hightail, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly. We're not even in 1.0 hightail yet. We're still in fucking early access, and Trump's already trying to, like, blow shit up.
Yeah, I hiker genuinely cannot stand the...
Oh. For fuck's sake.
Monkey.
For fuck's sake.
Monkey. I found silver. It's okay. God just wanted me to get silver. It's okay.
Yeah, everything happens for reasons, Zan. Just remember. Anyways, yeah, no, so... Fuck, never mind. I already... That just, like, made me clench my fucking asshole, and I completely forgot what I was about to say, but I was about to...
Oh, yeah, I'm tight right now, bro. Yeah! What's up? What's up? What's up? What are you gonna do about it, Mr. Flame Man? What are you gonna do about it? Yeah, I think, well, I mean, I think he's just getting too overwhelmed by me. Or maybe he is, but no, he tried to swing. Oh, shit! Oh, yeah, I bet that would have hit pretty hard, actually. No. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, this guy might actually be
He's got hands.
Okay, yeah, he's got hands. He's got hands. Oh, shit! Oh, okay. Oh. 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 How are you alive? Oh, because my sword is dog shit. Oh. 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 No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh. 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 And there's another one. Oh, my God.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, people are going to do amazing things with that audio bit. Okay. Get me out of here. All right. Okay. We will cut this out of the video, or maybe not.
Yeah,
it might be a fun little reprieve.
I was just about to say. No, we'll cut this bit and put it on Twitter.
The policy of the United States in 1803 to manage the Western Hemisphere. So that, you know, that's a cornerstone of American foreign policy. I think it is charming that Dave is defining America first in the way that he prefers, and I think there are plenty of people who wish to do that. But Dave, though a very popular podcaster, never won a presidential election, and Trump has been clear on what he means by America first, the political movement that he built, that people voted for in his coalition since the beginning.
What? What? Oh my God, the stolen valor is crazy. Holy shit. Oh my God, Nick Fuentes should actually sue. That's crazy. No, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, okay, no. For one, Nick Fuentes didn't even start America First. It's an older slogan than that. But if we're going to talk about who popularized America First, I mean, I'd say Nick Fuentes got to it first, but maybe Trump made it bigger, because Trump's Trump. Thoughts, Rince?
Yeah, no, what the fuck? Man, yeah, Michael Knowles is so just full of shit. If there was anything gayer than what we saw in that last segment, it would be Michael Knowles. And, yeah, there's, like, no, like, I'm still processing how fucking retarded that statement was, actually, like, straight up. That's, like, not registering with me, dude. And, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm actually excited to resume because fucking Kyle is just staring like aura farming into the camera, and it's like actually,
he is
like,
aura
really
farming right now, like really
he looks
hard.
like
I'm not even gonna lie. Like he's locked in. He is locked in, but he doesn't even like. He's not even acting like he's locked in, but he totally is.
Did you see his camera shaking? By the way, I was gonna make a joke that like his aura is so strong that shaking.
He's like
the fucking
vibrating.
camera.
Yeah, it's like vibrating electronics around him.
It's fucking hilarious, dude.
Electronics
Dude.
cannot exist around his aura. It actually interferes with their
GPU
with their
sockets
workings.
or GPU sockets fear him. They do. They are terrified of his ass. Yeah.
Like
I was gonna
people's
say-
compasses and GPSs are breaking as we speak. in
Yeah,
the vicinity.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
It is truly a catastrophe.
Rata. I need to get out of this cave. This cave is deadly and full of.
Fuck.
The
Yeah, I
night is
fucking
dark
hate
and
rats.
filled with terrors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, if I
President Trump campaigned the first time around on destroying ISIS. So obviously that does not mean that America's only going to look inward. President Trump has carried out attacks, military operations that were extremely successful in Iran, in Syria, and Afghanistan, obviously in Venezuela. He's been talking about taking Greenland and even invading America's evil top hat, Canada, though I think he's mostly joking about that one, since the beginning. So that's what that means. And what it comes down to is that America is a global empire. We just are. People can be upset about that, but unless your geopolitics comes strictly from Reddit, if your geopolitics actually comes from history, you recognize that we've been an empire since the Louisiana Purchase, okay? And we've been a muscular global empire since the Second World War. So President Trump's vision...
I love how these people have completely dropped the mask at this point. Like, could you imagine them openly saying this a few years ago?
No. Yeah, no, that's once again, the mask slips and slips and slips, but eventually they're gonna slip on the mask that they dropped on the floor. You know what I mean? Wow, that was fucking fire.
That was fire as fuck. Oh my god! We need to get you signed with like a record label. In all seriousness, though, like I think it's a matter of the fact that what they have to defend is so extreme and so stupid that eventually they're put into positions where they have to say stuff that's just this indefensibly dumb, Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
which
this is what Donald Trump has forced them to have to say.
Yeah, because they're all like, Trump's got like thousands of hands that are all just up these people's asses. You know what I mean? Like fucking puppeteer type shit. And eventually, shit's gonna collapse. I mean, it already is. It already is collapsing. Like. As you can see, fucking Kyle just staring. He's like staring eye to eye, like right through the fucking screen at me. It's actually kind of intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm so fucking excited to resume. I'm like, I really want to get to the Kyle.
Yeah, I want to see Kyle.
Hilarious.
Like, I hear boss music.
Yeah.
I literally hear boss music right now.
I think actually rejects two extremes. It rejects a conservative isolationism, and it rejects a liberal internationalism, and it posits a conservative imperialism that says that we are going to recognize our role in the world, but we are going to pursue that role in limited ways when America's interest at heart. So there's been no regime change in Venezuela. We're talking about regime change in Venezuela. The regime is still in place. What we did was depose the leader. We left the vice president in place, and we said, act in a way that is appropriate in accordance with the law and our interests, or we're going to kill you. That's very different than a Bushy-era neocon regime change in Iraq.
No, it's far more fascist. Yeah, it's very different. It's worse.
Yeah, no, he literally just pulled the Trump where it's like, yeah, I think so. I think we're just going to kill people, and they're going to be, like, dead. Like, he just did that right there.
Yeah, let's keep going, though. I do not want to... I'm going to even speed it up so we can get as much of this watched as possible.
Even when we're talking about Iran, the Trump administration has not gone in a particularly overt way yet, but even there, we would be talking about a restoration of the Pahlavi regime, most likely, that goes back to 1925. So I grant there are all sorts of risks to interventions, but we're the global empire, and frankly, even the American Revolution comes out of wars of global empire. It comes out of the 7 Years' War, which itself was a derivation of the War of Austrian Succession. To pretend that we don't...
All of this is cope for the fact that the original question was, is spending an immense amount in the U.S. budget on military spending what's best for the American people when they can't afford to eat? And this is all cope for not being able to answer that question with anything that's able to make Trump look good.
Dude,
like,
I just saw Okay, Zan, I have to read this out to you. This is fucking hilarious. Not gonna lie, Kyle totally looks like Guy Fieri's illegitimate son and the future mayor of Flavortown.
That was a good one, Retard. That was a good one.
We love
right.
Retard.
Don't have a role in geopolitics is to ignore all of American history.
Okay, Carl Kulinski, I can see you grimacing through a lot of what Michael was saying. You said Trump says the US will run Venezuela and he threatens Colombia and Mexico. Arrest this psychotic motherfucker. Before I get you to expand on that thesis, I mean, the point I was making to Dave, if I want to elaborate on where I sit with this, because I've had a bit of time to look at this play out, is you look at Maduro. Everyone thought, my God, this is going to be World War III. Actually, Maduro's going to end up in a New York courtroom, and he's been got rid of. Everyone seems to agree that's a good thing for not just the Venezuelan people, but the world. No American troops died in what was an incredibly efficient surgical military strike to get him.
I was actually trying to equate invading Venezuela and ousting basically a dictator, let's be real, and invading Greenland to annex a sovereign territory of Denmark. Okay, yeah, all right.
Oh,
cool.
boy.
Yeah, we're equating those now.
Out of there. And if you have a more compliant leader of Venezuela, albeit part of the same regime, that can probably only be a good thing. If you look at the argument about Greenland, for example, I'd be struck by some of the people I didn't expect to think this was a good idea. There was a British general last week talking about this, saying that from a strategic security point of view, it would make perfect sense for America to have Greenland. And is there a deal to be done? He didn't think invading it was the right thing, and nor do I, but is there a deal to be done with 60,000 people who live in Greenland that could actually improve the security of the United States and the West against the obvious threat from China and Russia and so on?
What this should not even be a conversation. This is such a, like, the people, retards are steering the boat, and that is why we're even in these waters. The fact that we're pretending this is normal is insane to me. Like, this is why the hashtag "this is not normal" thing was so big in 2016 and the years after, was because we needed to make sure that people did not start acting as though this was normal. It is overtly, obviously not fucking normal, and this should not be, like, normalized conversation of, like, well, is there an argument to be made that we should invade this ally nation for no reason other than to annex its land?
Yeah.
That is what we're discussing right now. Conquering sovereign territories held by our allies, yes. Like, we were talking about being the villains in every movie about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, we're the bad guys now. Fuck. Like, can't even deny it anymore. Shit.
Yeah, let's have a discussion on when Trump passes. I shit you not, if Trump passes a bill just called, like, the "fuck you, I hope you die and, like, your family, like, goes homeless" bill.
Sponsored by Mr.
Unironically, I think there'd be, like, retards trying to have a discussion around, like, well, could we make an argument that justifies Trump and his decision to pass the "fuck you, I hope your whole family dies" bill? You know what I mean? It's like what the fuck?
Yep.
Get to the others. Iran, getting rid of the Ayatollah and the mullahs is unquestionably a good thing for the world. It's how you do these things and whether you plan and prepare properly for what follows next that I think are the debatable points. And history says that's normally, unfortunately, been very badly done. But this is what I meant when I said to Dave that I understand the argument. I may not agree with all of it, but I do understand the logic to what Trump is doing here. Do you?
No, because we don't have a right to act like this around the world. We're supposed to be a nation among nations, not a nation above nations. And they used to at least lie to us in the past and say that this is good for the world and we're spreading freedom and democracy. Now they don't even bother to lie. Now it's naked, rank, disgusting imperialism where they say, we're going to take the oil. And the point is that we're going to take the oil. We're going to take the minerals. We're going to take the precious metals. We're doing this for our corporations.
It used to be a meme to call this out.
We're doing it for the Epstein class, the billionaires. And this, to piggyback on what Dave Smith said, is frankly not what many of the MAGA voters thought they were signing up for. They thought America First actually meant America First. By the way, you also replaced the Maduro regime with the Maduro regime. Congratulations on that. It's also been now a week straight of pro-regime protests. Now you have roving gangs of Venezuelan militias that are kidnapping Americans. But again, I come back to the fundamental point, which is if you sign on to stuff like this, you're saying might makes right and the law of the jungle is back. What you're saying is China has a right to go into whatever smaller country they want and depose the leader and say we're doing it because we can and we have the right to do it and we have bigger guns and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So they're never going to address that fundamental question, which is why do we have a right? Do we actually believe in international law or was that all a joke? Are we rolling the clock back to the 1700s and the 1800s and we're going super primitive style here? And I think the answer to that is yes, they want to go super primitive style.
Today's show is sponsored by Oxford.
Fuck you, Pierce. Had to pay for that Aston Martin somehow, you fuck.
Is that what he has?
Yeah.
How rich is Piers Morgan?
Yeah,
that's
like I think a 5 or 10 million net worth. I forgot. I haven't checked in a while, but I sometimes randomly look up like random like newscasters like what they drive, and I think he has an Aston Martin, not a Lagonda, the other sedan. Someone probably knows in chat. A Rapide. That's what it's called. Yeah. So that's where the joke came from.
Okay. All right.
Piers.
Right, back to
law
Kyle.
goes back to antiquity. It's not some creation of modernity, whether we're talking about the 1700s or the 20th century.
The Geneva Conventions, the Nuremberg Tribunal, excuse me, the Geneva Conventions and the Nuremberg Tribunal.
Yes, those exist, but international laws, the jus gentium goes back to antiquity. However,
and
unfortunately, a lot of our liberal friends think history
so
began a few decades ago.
The League of Nations was.
How do you like Michael Knowles' demon smile? I've been saying this for like 5 years now, that Michael Knowles is a literal demon.
I never paid attention to him because he's like, you know, he always just kind of like just lacked that like charisma. You know what I mean? Like he never really had much of a presence in my eyes. But man, when he smiles, like unironically, it's like when Kenneth Copeland smiles, which is like the closest comparison I can draw to like a fucking demon. Like it's creepy, but you can tell it's creepy. Like it looks intentionally creepy. With Michael Knowles, it looks fucking 10 times more horrifying than Kenneth Copeland. I'm not gonna lie. Like I actually feel unsafe looking at him. Ugh.
Useless, it fell apart, and that's why we had the UN. That's why we had the Geneva Convention.
Right, I'm talking about millennia ago,
we looked
not
at piles of millions of dead bodies, and we said that's a bad idea. We looked at piles of millions of dead bodies and said, that's a bad idea. Let's not do that anymore. Let's actually have a framework and rules and laws. And Trump is blowing that up. By the way, he bombed fishing boats from Venezuela, Trinidad, and Tobago, and Colombia. He just did the regime change in Venezuela. He bombed Yemen and Somalia and Nigeria and Iran. He's threatening Greenland and Panama and Canada and Cuba and Mexico. And you sit there the whole time and act like it's okay. Is there anything Trump can do, Michael Knowles, that you would say, I condemn it, and you hop off the Trump train, or are you going to tickle his taint for the rest of your fucking life?
No, there have been plenty of Trump policies.
Have you ever seen a lefty debater? Based, by the way. Have you ever seen a lefty debater who like makes a argument and then does like a smug smile afterwards like that? It's always a lying conservative. Like no one who is in good faith arguing does a smile after every point they make like that. I've noticed that with I watch a podcast called PKA, and one of the more conservative hosts, Taylor, like it's become a meme now within the PKA community because he's the most like MAGA host, that when he makes that particular smug smile, he's about to say the most retarded shit you've ever heard. I like, it's gotta be like an exclusive to right-winger thing, right? Have you ever seen a lefty do that smug smile thing?
No, yeah, no, haven't seen it. It's usually because, you know, right? So we don't need to do that shit.
Yeah, the smile is an appeal to emotion. They take that moment to read your expression. Ah, maybe.
Not criticized because he's only right about 99.78% of the time. So the First Step Act I thought was a misstep. But I would say the rest. Excuse me. I would say the rest of the administration has been very successful. What's your problem? What's
my problem
is
that you're a cuck and you're a hack and you're not an independent thinker and you're meat riding Trump. And you know that what he's doing is imperialism and you don't care.
I just answered your question. I corrected
that. He ain't smiling now.
A war criminal pedophile rapist. I hope you're happy.
A war criminal pedophile rapist? You brought up a point. You brought up international law, and you made a very false point, a dumb point, which is that international law began only a few hundred years ago. I corrected you, and I pointed out that the international law is part of the Western tradition. Excuse me one second. It goes back to antiquity. It's a principle of the jus gentium. And then you said, well, international law has failed because of the League of Nations failure, which I think is actually undermining your argument and proving my point and proving Trump's point, because the liberal internationalism that was established by people like Woodrow Wilson did in fact fail, which is why we need to restore an older and more classical conception of the international order, which is precisely what Trump's doing. So I think you've hoisted yourself with your own petard. And then you just make a lot of vulgar sort of non sequiturs because you don't have a leg to stand on.
All right, let me bring in...
Let me ask you this question. Hold on, Piers, let me ask him a question real quick. Tell me the name of the Minister of Defense in Venezuela.
I don't know. Whatever his name is.
And that's the problem. You're advocating for a regime change. You don't know the first thing.
I didn't. I just said the opposite. I argued against the regime change.
He actually said the opposite. I heard Michael Knowles say the regime remains there, right? So he said the opposite, in fact. I want to bring in Coleman.
No, but he wanted to take out Maduro. Don't give me that cutesy little...
Yes, but he made the point that the regime is still... He made the point the regime...
I like how they want to have their cake and eat it, too. Trump both saved the Venezuelan people from the Maduro regime, but also the regime is still in place, so he didn't do any crazy regime change. They want to have their cake and eat it, too.
Yeah, that's very interesting, the mental gymnastics. Man, I love how Kyle's throwing down. Like, I will say this, all right, and I don't, like, you know, I don't want to be mean. Nah, I do want to be a little bit mean. a lot of like lefty debaters, and listen, I'm not saying that I'm a fucking debate bro. I don't debate. I like watching them, but I've noticed that like a lot of them they end up falling and like feeding into that stereotype of lefties, which I think is why like no matter how right some people are in a debate, they just lose socially. I think Kyle is like the antithesis of that. You know what I mean? Which I really think we need more of on the left. Like just not afraid to just like straight up just be an asshole. Honestly, like straight up. Like, and not even just like, and the way he does it, it doesn't feel forced. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like he's trying to do a strategy. It feels like he's just being him. And I love that. We need more people like that debating and speaking for us. You know, yeah.
I agree. I very much agree. I might say so myself. All right.
The team is still there, and the vice president appears to be much more compliant with running Venezuela the way America would prefer for its national security than Maduro. So that's what Michael said. He didn't advocate regime change. Let me bring in Coleman Hughes. Coleman,
kidnapping the president is
hang on, Carl. Let me bring
Don't let him respond.
Coleman hasn't said a word yet. Coleman, what's interesting about you, I think, with this is you've been, I think, striving to be quite nuanced with your take on all this stuff that's going on. And that's kind of where I found myself, is that sometimes taking a beat, looking at it from just a step away, and trying not to be too knee-jerk about all these things, often can be beneficial to your mental health, but actually can probably better, I think, represent what is really going on.
It's bad for your mental health to criticize Trump, so you should just not do it, because it's bad for you, dude.
I wonder what's also bad for me that Trump... I wonder what involves Trump and is also bad for me. I wonder, Zan. I wonder.
Getting drafted in war. Oh, I love the elephant in the room, by the way, that if America just completely envelops itself in war with all of its allies, there's going to be a fucking draft. Because I've always said there'll never be a draft in the United States under the assumption, because we've got our allies. You know, our allies are a thing. We would obviously receive help from our allies before we would draft our own citizens. Who the fuck will we be able to call upon? Like... I don't know, I guess unless we compel conquered country citizens to fight for us, I suppose. We could draft them. At that point, though, I feel like... I don't even know what's going to go.
Zan, hear me out, okay? They can just send the Palantir drones they've been developing. They can just send the Palantir droids.
Yeah, I guess they have been working with companies like Palantir for a reason. They want to go full, like, AI-powered global takeover, I suppose.
Yep.
We're in a bad timeline, guys. This is not good. Oh, wow. That's a lot of stuff.
Going on here. You know, everyone wants to go to extremes very, very quickly about everything and take a very tribal position. I've been struck by your, I think, quite intellectually honest attempt to be more nuanced. So what do you think about all this?
Thank you, Piers. I try to not think about these issues in terms of left versus right or Trump versus the opposition and try to take each issue on its own terms. So let's do that. Venezuela. If the policy here is actual regime change, in other words, not just decapitating Maduro and replacing Maduro with a second worst alternative, if we were to actually affect regime change in Venezuela, that would almost certainly be a good thing for the people of Venezuela and for American interests. Now, if we're going to do this half measure where we just decapitate Maduro and replace him with someone just as bad and then get a bunch of oil, well, that would at best be probably neutral for the Venezuelan people. It would be an enormous waste of U.S. military resources, and I would be very critical of the Trump administration. The truth is, I don't know which path we're going down, right? It's very early.
Right.
We're getting different signals from Trump depending on the day, different signals from Rubio, and anyone who's confidently prognosticating that they know which path we're going down probably doesn't know what they're talking about. As for Greenland, I think, the truth is, Trump is extraordinarily reckless in his rhetoric here. We have a situation where we have an ally in Denmark, a NATO ally. We have deep relationships with Greenland already.
True.
We have a military base. We have mineral connections. And so the idea of taking Greenland by force against the will of the people who live there is absolutely ridiculous. Now, that said, if we were to purchase it, I think that'd be a good thing. It'd have to happen with their consent. They would have to want it.
Right.
And I would welcome them as
They
an American.
don't want
we
that.
absolutely cannot take it by force.
Right, see, that to me, Dave Smith, is part of the interesting part of all this, is that it's how this plays out. It's what actually Trump really wants to do. If he does an economic... I mean, take, for example, what China's been doing in Africa for the last 20 years. It's been going around...
Do the people of Greenland in this scenario get any say over whether or not their country gets sold to America and they basically are just Americans now? Like they lose their free healthcare and now they're American? Like, why are we simultaneously trying to deport people, but also make there be more Americans by conquering people?
Yeah. Well, also, I just realized it would fucking suck to get taken over by America because then you just lose your free healthcare. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, if, you know, at the very least, you know, let me play devil's advocate here. All right? Or somewhat. Let's just say we were imperialists and I was, like, pro-imperialism. I would at least want there to be benefits for, like, the people and, like, the places I'm conquering, at least. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, you know, like, free healthcare, you know what I mean? And, you know, good public schools and, you know, a functioning oh, wait, that's too much for,
that's,
you know,
good things.
Trump's
not pro-good things. He's pro-bad things, anti-good things. We've established this.
Good things are woke. I mean, come on. Like, we all know good things are woke, so you shouldn't like them.
It's bleeding heart, lefty nonsense, as I saw someone on Twitter say today. I genuinely,
yeah, exactly.
like... I get, like, downright cynical about humanity's right to exist every time I read conservative comments on Twitter. It's like, it just puts me in such a cynical headspace, and I'm like, this can't be healthy for me. It really can't. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I've been avoiding those fucking things.
Yeah, there's a gamer on me. Oh, I got him. Very powerful gamer. Oh, those Varen spawn, huh? We fight for Gaia.
They're worse than Hitler.
They're not worse than Hitler, but they are actually my favorite Varen spawn type. They always have been, since like I first saw the screenshot of one during the promotion. We got to get back to it. I gotta stop. Hightail's so good. I gush.
Around Africa, pretty quietly actually, unless you're actually in Africa, and it's been doing endless commercial deals with African countries where they go in, they spend a lot of money on infrastructure and hospitals and bridges and roads and all these things, and in return they get access to huge amounts of minerals. And that's been going on for 20 years. And that's a kind of economic imperialism. I see no ideological difference between that and what
economic imperialism? Rince, do you realize the retarded shit that just came out of his mouth there? This man just tried to equate the U.S. having mineral deals with countries and allow for private American companies to extract minerals on foreign land is economic imperialism, is what he called that, to try and soften the idea of literal invasion through force.
Yeah, pack it up, little bro, pack it up. Fucking, what the fuck?
That's downright insulting to capitalism right there. I feel like the capitalists should be salty about that one.
Yeah, I am actually, like, I'm malding a little bit. I'm seething, like, I'm coping, I'm pissing, I'm crying.
Business that two parties have mutually agreed to that involves no loss of sovereignty rights or anything along those lines is the same as conquering through force, actually. What kind of lefty that is actually, like, some lefty shit to say, but he's not a lefty. He's, like, in favor of both, but says they're both as bad as each other. That's insane.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, Zan, it's like how I was joking earlier, like, yeah, I'm tired of politics, but, you know, go Trump, go Trump, go invading other countries, go fucking, you know, all this, go Palantir putting fucking drones outside your windows. But man, I just hate politics. I don't choose either side, you know what I mean? But yeah, go Trump.
Palantir can't see me. My windows are literally shut right now, and I've got curtains, so like Palantir drones literally can't see me. It's pretty crazy.
Joke's on you. I put a Palantir drone in your office when you weren't looking.
Oh fuck! I was wondering what that noise was.
Yep, buddy, you're fucked. Your GPU's a drone, actually. It's gonna fly out of your computer. The fan, imagine the fans ramp up and it like disconnects from the socket, just goes meow.
Let's not jinx it. Let's not jinx it. My fucking screen blinked as you said that, so let's not jinx it.
Oh fuck, yeah.
All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, let's just pray for me, please. Okay, back to it.
Is potentially talking about with Greenland, which is clearly incredibly important strategically, from a security point of view, from a mineral point of view, and so on. And there are only 60,000 people who live there, and it may well be that they're happy to do a deal if the price is right, in which case, what's the difference?
Yeah, well, I'll say I pretty much agree with Coleman, I guess, on that. Like, if it's voluntary, then okay. I don't really know enough about Greenland to really speak on it intelligently.
The difference
I could not
is
disagree
voluntary.
more with the take on Venezuela. And I think it's crazy, Pierce. I also think, you know, it's just after the last 25 years, and I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but the idea that we're just talking about regime changes in Iran and Venezuela and saying it would undoubtedly be a good thing if this regime were to fall. Well, maybe, but there's a really important question of what comes next. And if you want to say that, like, you know, I mean, we've had a long history of regime changes in Latin America that have been disastrous too. We overthrew a communist government in the 50s in Guatemala, led to a civil war where hundreds of thousands of people died. So the idea that it's a guarantee that it would be a good thing if either one of these regimes fell, well, we certainly don't know that. And one of the other things we know is that you really don't get much of a say in what replaces the regime that falls unless you're willing to militarily occupy the country. And we've had regime change. We might be able to affect a full regime change without a military occupation.
That's what they'll probably want to do.
As we did in Libya, as we did in Syria. But you know, those are not great examples where the country worked out. I mean, Syria is hanging on by a hair, and Libya is an absolute catastrophe. And there's no, so it's just like, it's very reckless when you start playing, you know, you start dropping bombs on human beings, you start toppling governments, you start kidnapping or, you know, taking, you know, leaders of countries. There's unintended consequences that come with all of these things. That's probably the one lesson in all of this military history, is that nobody is smart enough to predict exactly what's going to come next. And so I just think it's, you know, I see this with the situation in Iran. I say Michael Knowles are there. It's like, guys, it's like you hoist up the mission accomplished banner 2 days after the strike. We have absolutely no idea what's going to come of this. Obviously, in the situation in Iran, just right in front of all of our eyes, Pierce, what the goalposts have moved from 60% enriched uranium, which is what me and Coleman were arguing about a few months ago. That's out the window now, right? Nobody even cares about or is pretending there's a nuclear threat. Donald Trump's bragging about how it's obliterated. Yep. Then both Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump moved the goalpost to intercontinental ballistic missiles, and then that was the war propaganda for a couple months there. Now it's over whether they shoot protesters or rioters. Not even like an accusation that they're committing a genocide or are a threat to another country. They invaded their neighbor, nothing like that. So I would just say, I think one of the most important lessons, and Michael, who's a history buff, would know that every last one of the founders of this country talked about this all the time, is that you want to be sober and calm and rational. You want to not intervene when you don't need to. There's all types of unintended consequences that can come from these things. And that's why the advice of the founders was be friends with the world. Don't get into entangling alliances. Don't search for monsters to destroy, to fight unnecessary wars. These are all wars of choice.
Every new year, I think about what a real fresh...
Oh my God, another sponsored segment.
Dude, ever since he had these Daily Wire hacks come on the show, I think, like, behind the scenes, they had, like, little meetings, and they're like, oh, yeah, you should put, like, a sponsored segment every 5 minutes, like we do. Like, fucking
it's just, it's the right-wing grift. It's the right-wing grift, right? Like, if you're a progressive and you make a lot of money, you're the devil. But if you're a progressive and you don't make a lot of money, you're a lolcow. But if you're a right-winger and you make a lot of money, it's all good. And if you're a right-winger and you don't make a lot of money, it's all good. Yeah, it's literally the internet standard right now. And so these right-wing pundits, like, if anyone outside of the right-wing political space did this kind of advertising and monetization, they would get ripped apart. It's only because they're a partisan hack for conservative brain-rotted losers that they can be this shameless and get away with it. Like you can attest to this, Rince, because you're from, like, other parts of, like, internet content creation space. Like, anyone who is this shameless about monetization without having an audience of audience-captured, you know, sycophantic partisan people would be ripped apart.
Oh, yeah, no, they absolutely would be. They'd get their fucking asshole blown out. Like, it's just... It is very, I mean, even outside of, like, the political sphere, like, it's a bit of a meme of how, like, over-fucking sponsored every, like, Daily Wire video is. Because, like I said, every 5... Like, I shit you not, they cram in, like, I think 10 sponsors in videos. It is really nutty. Like, I'm almost curious to see how much they make per video, because they probably make a ton of money. Which, obviously, me being a good capitalist, I love, but I also hate the fucking grift. Love the money, hate the grift. What can I say?
That's fair. That's fair right there. Well then, I guess that's where I will call this segment for now, because I genuinely, I don't think I can handle any more of the nonsense of Piers Morgan and Michael Knowles. But I gotta say, Kyle Kulinski did cook there. I see why that clip went viral. What are your thoughts overall, Rince, if you want to give some closing statements?
Zan, I think it's about time I buy you some, like, $500 Gucci shades, and I buy you a bottle of blonde hair dye, so you can,
I could never pull off being blonde. I could never do that. I've never been blonde, and I could never pull it off.
Yeah, you've never been blonde in your life. You would never. You would never.
Never, ever. Never.
Never, ever, ever. Never, ever.
Never. Anyway, folks, if you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, as it really does help a ton. Comment Hightail Tree. as that'll be my code, that code word that you watched all the way to the end. And of course, I appreciate it a ton, as it really does help the channel a lot. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to turn on all notifications and you want YouTube to tell you in the future when I upload or go live. And follow my social medias, linked down below, particularly my fan Discord, if you want to see extra from me. With all that said, thank you for watching, as always, and have a good one.